Hello everyone, welcome to the shortcomings of Language Quest. These are some of the things that we weren't able to implement simply because of the 12-week time period. So these are some things that we weren't able to achieve, but that we would love to implement in the future with more time. So, some technical limitations. Currently, the game doesn't have any save or loading system. You can't, like, if you start the game, you have to finish it immediately. You can't come back to it later. Second, it has limited replayability. Once completed, there are no variations in the story or puzzle solutions. And third, it has basic UI accessibility. There's no text scaling, colorblind support, or screen reader compatibility. It's all once again very basic. So, some shortcomings from the gameplay or the interaction systems are that there are limited environmental interactions. Players can only collect fragments and solve puzzles. There are no other world interactions. There's also no NPC conversations beyond scripted dialogue. Characters don't respond dynamically to player choices. Currently, this has a very linear story progression. There are no branching paths or multiple endings based on the player's decision. We also have limited character development, so Lena's personality and background can't be deeply explored. We can only put just the basic stuff that you see in the game. Something else is the language learning system limitations. Currently, we had a simplified translation approach, and that is just a full phrase translation where you can swap the phrases from English to Spanish. This obviously isn't the best way to learn the language, as you're not progressively building that vocabulary, but it was the simplest approach for our time period. It also has no pronunciation guidance, so there are no audio cues or pronunciation practice. We also had a limited vocabulary scope, which focused on story-specific words rather than a comprehensive language learning. We also didn't have grammar instruction, so this game isn't going to teach you any sentence structure or grammar rules. And as well as there's no difficulty progression. Once again, it's all very plain. Its vocabulary doesn't change or gradually increase in complexity. It's the same since the first level. So, for the content and scope limitations, we only have a single story arc. Only one Chulachaki narrative rather than multiple folklore stories. We have limited puzzle variety, primarily just drag and drop and translation puzzles. We also do not have a practice mode. There are no dedicated vocabulary reviews or practice sessions, besides just opening up your inventory and reviewing what you've collected from the fragments. We also have limited cultural context. We could have included a little bit more in the background for Latin America folklore and traditions, but once again, due to the time constraints, we weren't able to do that. So, educational design limitations. There are no assessment systems. There's no really way to track your learning progress or identify areas for improvement. You only have the retelling of the story phrases, which are collected from the fragments. We also have limited feedback, just basic, correct, or incorrect, rather than a detailed explanation explaining to you why that answer was incorrect. So, production limitations. Once again, we weren't able to have any type of voice acting. There's no audio narration. There's no character voices. All we have is simple background music, and that's it. We also just have basic animations, which is just a simple sprite animation and the changing of the sprites in the ending scene. So these are all simple rather than having more complicated character movements, but this is what we were able to come up with. And once again, we have limited sound design, just basic ambient sounds, no music rather than immersive audio like when you're clicking something. And we didn't have a tutorial system. Players must figure out the mechanics, and they're just kind of thrown into the game. But now let's get into the realistic context. While these limitations exist, of course, they reflect the constraints of a 12-week development cycle, especially learning on a new platform, Unity. Many of us in the project, this was our first time learning this program. So a good couple of weeks were taken up just learning the program. So our focus was on creating a cohesive narrative experience that demonstrates the potential of a game-based language learning, rather than building a comprehensive educational platform. The modular architecture we develop allows for future expansion of these features. This list is an honest list about the limitations while acknowledging the realistic scope of a semester project. It shows that we understand what could be improved while defending the choices we made with our time constraints. So thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful day.